That's right. I recruited some help for this little episode. What we're actually working on tonight is, you see behind me, we got our 91 Camaro sitting there. We got to get that engine pulled out. That's the old small block 350 that's in there. We've been working on our 5.3 LS motor that's going to go into it, but actually, sooner than expected, this engine is sold. I got to get it out of the car so the new owner can come pick it up tomorrow. So it's going to be a long night. We definitely got some work to do. I can already see my help's going to be real productive in
Walking Dead gear.
Walking Dead gear. Perfect. Anyways, we got some work to do. We're going to get the hood pulled off the car. I'm going to get crawled underneath of it, start undoing flywheel bolts, bell housing bolts, you name it. It's going to be a long night. We got a lot of work to do, but we're going to get after it, so sit tight. We've been at it for a couple hours now, getting this motor ready to pull out of here. You know, when you first start these projects, you know, the goal is always to leave everything as intact as possible while you do it. You know, the less work, if you can get the engine out with all the accessories on and everything, you know, the less you take off of it, the better. It just makes for that much less work and everything's so much easier to do. But of course, that's never how it works. This particular car, it's a Camaro. Everything's really tight. You know, come to find out, to get, you know, to some of the bolts on the, you know, the bell housing bolts, it's easier to get the headers out of the way. Well, headers, there's long tube headers on this thing right now. They're insanely tough to get on. The driver's side goes down the bottom. Passenger side pulls up from the top. Got to pull the spark plugs, got to pull the starter. And you got to pull everything. The coolant temperature sensors, the oil pressure sensor. Everything's got to come off. You get the headers off so that you can get bolts off, so you can get, I mean, just you name it. It's been, I mean, it hasn't been terrible. A lot of the bolts are kind of hard to get to, but, you know, it's just how it goes when you're starting these projects and you want things to go super smooth. Even if they go smooth, there's always things you're not anticipating and just extra steps along the way that you got to take, and that's just the way it is. So, not that big a deal, but, you know, like I said, been at it for a few hours now. I did get under the car. The exhaust came apart super easy. Bell housing bolts, the flywheel bolts, there's only 3 of them. They came out super easy. So, I mean, overall, it's been a pretty simple project. Just, you know, when you haven't done it in a while and you're doing different things, it kind of comes back to you, you know. This is just how it goes. So, we're getting ready to hook up the cherry picker here. I'm going to give you a quick look at everything we've done real quick, and then we're going to hoist this motor out of here, so hang on. So, ready to pull this thing out?
Yeah.
You're all jammied up. Well, as you can see, we got almost everything off. The headers are out. We did pull the radiator. Probably didn't have to, but I don't want to bang into it. I don't have a nice 4-bolt lifting hook to put on that intake manifold, so we are going old school with the chain on there, which isn't a big deal. Take a look down here, see if I can get some light going. Yeah, all that's removed, the starter's out, the headers are gone. I did pull that accessory drive off the front there just to gain access. Our motor mount bolts are out, bell housing bolts are all out, and those were a real treat, especially them ones back in there. Flywheel bolts are out, so as of right now, it is ready to go. Now, if you've ever done this before, you know there's a bit of a trick to it, because the way these motor mounts sit, I got a nice little flashlight holder over here. These motor mounts sit on top of, you know, the actual rubberized mounts underneath here. So what we have to do first is bring this motor up. Well, it's also mated into the transmission still, so both the engine and the transmission have to come up until we can clear those motor mounts, and then at that point we actually need to, I got a floor jack underneath on the transmission right now, we need to hold the transmission at that height, and then we can go ahead and move the motor forward until it's released from, so it's no longer mated to the transmission. And you can only go so far because the oil pan's going to hit that cross member underneath there. So, again, everything's got to come up, motor's got to come forward, and then the motor's got to come up again. It may take some tilting, it's actually usually a pretty violent process, but nevertheless, we will get it out. So, I'm going to put her back on time lapse. We're going to get our cherry picker hooked up and hopefully get this motor out of here pretty quick. And then we're actually going to put it all back together. So when the guy comes to pick it up that's buying this engine, I'm going to put the headers back on so all the nuts and bolts and everything else are all where they need to be. Make life easier for him. Also gets all this extra crap out of my garage. So let's get her out. Motor. It's annoying. That's right here. We got our old Chevy 350 sitting on the floor. Actually, that came out pretty simple. It didn't take a lot to clear those motor mounts, and then it came apart from the transmission relatively easy. So it's just kind of one of them things. Just use a couple pry bars to create some space between the bell housing, and then kind of tug on it a little bit, and it came right out. Plenty of room. So you can see we're kind of left with a mess in here, but this is kind of nice because while this is apart, obviously we're going to be putting in a fuel injection system. It's going to be its own wiring harness, but this being open will give us a good opportunity to clean up some of these other wires. We do have like an AFR gauge over there. There's like the box and everything for it. We will be keeping that. We'll be running one O2 sensor, one AFR. The headers we're buying are going to have 2 ports, so we'll end up using both of those. A lot of this is factory wiring that I'm going to go through and essentially eliminate everything we don't need. So this will be a good opportunity. Probably shoot some paint in here, really clean this engine bay up while it's apart. And again,
new motor's over there.
New motor sitting over there. Off with the old one here. It's a great engine, but like I said, with what we want to do, this one, it's a good motor, but it's not going to do what we want. So we want more horsepower. Here's our Turbo 400 with a 3-bolt torque converter on it. Actually, there's 2 different bolt patterns on there, which is kind of nice. But we got that guy we didn't have to mess with. We do have trainer cooler lines there. We'll probably get those fixed up and mounted out of the way a little bit. Still a ton of work to do, but we're getting her done. So
when we get inside, we can watch this video.
Okay, we'll go inside and we'll watch our own video. Sounds good, buddy. Anyways, I'm going to leave you off right there. And we still got a lot of work to do, put that other motor back together, and then we're going to keep cracking away at our 5.3 over here. Hopefully before too long, we'll be getting that one ready to put in. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Feel free to leave comments. I'm always open to suggestions and stuff like that, you know.
And please press the thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Like it. So, anyways, thanks again. Dadgummit. Stay good. We will see you later.